Welcome back. Today we are doing a deep dive into a really fascinating, and I have to say, pretty intense set of source materials. This is a blueprint for spiritual and material fortification. It's not just theory. This is the recorded, practical application of will.
That's right. What we have here is the transcript of an actual working. It's a detailed alchemical rite of severance from a text called Liber Odii FratriS.
Which translates to the rite of the broken blood bond and the forging of the sentinel.
Exactly. And it's dense. It's using concepts from thelema, from the clipoth, and that fundamental alchemical idea. Solve et coagula. Dissolve and bind.
So our mission today is to give you a shortcut, really. We want to unpack the logic and the startlingly precise symbolism behind this whole operation.
Yeah.
We're going to strip away the jargon so you can see how someone systematically set out to, well, dissolve a toxic bond and then build a serious protective ward against the fallout.
It's a case study in high-stakes metaphysical engineering.
It really is.
So let's start with the core motivation, because this is what justifies the whole thing. The text is very, very clear on this. This is not a curse. It's not about revenge.
Right. It's framed as an opus, a work.
A great work, specifically an excision of that which has become poison.
So it's pure self-defense. It's about sovereignty. The conflict is with a brother, a relationship that's become an obstruction to thy true will.
Because that person, according to the text, chose the path of the unevolved ego. So the magus is basically identifying an infection inside their own universe and preparing for surgery.
A metaphysical surgery, I like that.
And what really stands out here, what gives this rite its true power, is how it defines that poison. It's not just some vague personal failing. The brother's obstruction is tied directly to the blind grasping of the clipoth of Noga.
Okay, we have to stop there for a second, because that phrase, that's the whole psychological key to this text, isn't it?
It absolutely is.
So the clipoth, for anyone who might not be familiar, they're the unbalanced shadows of the spheres on the tree of life, right?
Yeah. The shadow aspects, exactly. And Noga is Venus, so it's all about love, harmony.
Material attraction, beauty.
All of that. So you take the balanced version, loving harmony, and then you get the shadow, the clipa.
Venusian greed.
That's the one. It's that blind grasping, that possessiveness that just strangles a bond until it's dead.
So the magus isn't just banishing a person. They're isolating a very specific metaphysical force, that greed, that they see as the root of the problem.
That's the precision.
But wait, if the source is so focused on the brother's unevolved ego and this Venusian greed, does it address the risk of projection? I mean, how can the magus be sure none of that greed is their own?
That is a fantastic question, and the text handles it, I think, very elegantly. The whole ritual is intensely personal. It's focused on internal change first, by declaring the bond poison and using materials from the self, which we'll get to.
So they're taking full responsibility for the severance. It's about cleaning their own house.
Exactly. The opus is a declaration. I am dissolving the infection I allowed into my system. It's not a judgment on the brother's soul.
That reframes it completely. It's a cleanup operation.
And that's why the structure is pure alchemy. Solve et coagula.
You dissolve what is, and then you bind what will be.
Yeah. So the working is broken into two powerful timed acts. Part one is the banishing. That's the solve.
The great dissolution. And part two is the warding, the coagula, forging that new protective structure.
And the declarations, the timing, they amplify this. The solve part is done at dusk.
The gate between worlds. Makes sense.
At that threshold, the magus declares that which was is no more. It is returned to filth.
Wow. No ambiguity there.
None. Then later, at nightfall, the coagula declaration shifts the energy. It's all assertion.
Upon this ruin, I build my fortress. My will is defended. Its destruction, then immediate forceful construction.
It's the ultimate act of redefining your universe. But you need tools for that.
Which brings us to the materia magica, and this is where it gets really interesting for me.
Yeah, the instruments of will.
When you look at the inventory, you see 2 pill bottles, a page from a Bible, a trash bag. It sort of challenges that idea that high magic needs, dragon's blood and mandrake root.
The text has a great line for that. The will finds its own tools. And these common items become powerful sympathetic instruments.
Let's start with the vessels, the 2 pill bottles. The first one is named the sarcophagus of dead love.
It's a tomb, simple as that. The relationship is declared dead, and this is where it will be sealed.
But the detail that links back to the core problem, the inside walls are coated with green wax.
The seal of Noga greed.
So the poison itself is used to embalm the corpse of the relationship.
It's brilliant, isn't it? It binds the specific reason for the failure right onto its tomb. Then the second bottle, the phylactery of the ally, becomes the foundation for the new reality.
And the final opus integrates them. The tomb is placed under the foundation, sealing the poison beneath the sentinel's feet.
Exactly. So next are the alchemical agents. And first up is this incredibly charged item called the Famic Pact.
Which is a page torn from a Bible belonging to the Magus' mother.
The slave god's book, as the text calls it.
The violence of that is so intentional.
It has to be. A blank piece of paper wouldn't have the same power. That Bible page represents inherited morality, family, society. The old dead eon.
So by using it to write this intensely personal act of will, the Magus is saying their will supersedes all that cultural programming.
It's a psychological defilement. You have to cut the roots.
Okay, so if that's about cultural severance, the next ingredient is about ultimate personal sovereignty, the elixir of self.
Which is urine.
Right, and the text calls it the menstruum of the being and the holy water of thelema.
And that's critical. The menstruum is the universal solvent in alchemy. By using their own vital fluid, the Magus is saying, the only thing that can dissolve my bond must come from my own sovereign body.
It's the definitive statement of self-ownership.
It ensures the bond is dissolved by their chemistry, not some external force. It baptizes the whole process in personal dominion.
It makes it powerful, not just, shocking.
And then comes the astral essence. The pact, soaked in the elixir, is sealed in the bottle and burned. The fire transmutes the physical bond.
And here's that precision again. The smoke.
The smoke is key. The nephesh, the animal soul of the bond, is trapped inside the vessel. This is the whole point of the banishing.
So by trapping the smoke, the bond's life force becomes a prisoner, bound to the object that's about to be buried.
Yes. And all of this, the sarcophagus, the trapped spirit, the wax, it all gets tossed into the Athanor of putrefaction.
The mother's trash bag.
Which represents the womb, but also the refuse of the old life. It becomes the furnace where the bond is returned to undifferentiated filth.
An efficient disposal system.
The ultimate rejection. And then for the final steps, the coagula, you have to ground the work. So we get two offerings.
The first, 9 cigarettes, which is, it's peculiar but very specific.
9 is the number of Yesod.
Yeah.
The foundation, the sphere of the astral plane. So the cigarettes are a, quote, vulgar yet potent sacrifice to bind the astral realm to this new defense.
The sentinel needs to be supported on the plane of dreams and images so your psychic space is defended.
Immediately. And then the material payment, a quarter.
The seal of earth, Malkuth. Payment to the genius loci, the land spirits.
Right. You're building a fortress in the material world, so you have to pay the landlord, basically. You have to engage the earth itself to ground the work.
So it's a complete energetic circuit, from the declaration of war to the surgical preparation, and now, finally, to deployment.
Which brings us to the final section, the sentinel's post, where and when you place it.
And the placement is non-negotiable. The source is emphatic. This is a chthonic working earth and shadow. It must be buried.
Interred. And it specifically warns against hanging it up somewhere, calling that folly.
Why is hanging it so bad?
Because the whole thing is a compact with the earth. You've paid the earth with the quarter. You've used earth-aspected ingredients. If you hang it, you divorce it from the very foundational energy you just paid for.
You confuse the planes. You put an earth working in the realm of air.
You got it. And what's fascinating here is that the text points out a symbolic conflict. The Magus had already put up a 40-foot pillar on their property, a pole.
A vertical assertion of will, fire and air. The big I am statement.
And the text warns explicitly, do not confuse the lightning rod with the foundation stone.
The pole is vertical. It calls energy down. But this sentinel is horizontal. It's a boundary.
It's a minefield hidden in the dirt. It has to act as a stabilizing force in the material world. It belongs in a grave because it's born from a death.
That distinction is so key for anyone listening. A boundary requires earth, not just aspiration to the air.
Precisely. And so the timing of the burial has to resonate with that. It needs to be Saturn's time, the lord of boundaries.
The source just dismisses daylight as the hour of the profane, and midnight is just serviceable.
They're not good enough.
So they pick one perfect hour, 3 a.m.
The hour of the void. At 3 a.m., the rational sun, Tifereth, is dead. The forces of the moon, Yesod, and the earth, Malkuth, are at their absolute peak.
It's the deepest point of stillness.
And it's Saturn's hour, perfect for setting an unyielding boundary. And even the tool is symbolic. The instruction is to use a broken shovel.
A broken shovel to bury a broken bond. I mean, every single detail is aligned.
Everyone. And the final, critical instruction is psychological. The consummation. After you bury it, you turn your back immediately. You walk away.
Let the lust of result die.
Because if you obsess over it, you're second-guessing the work. You're recalling the will. You have to let it go so it can operate unseen.
You return to your home as if from a task of no consequence.
The physical act, the digging, the burying, that is the consummation of the rite. After that, your thought is irrelevant.
And that really brings us to the end of this deep dive into Liber Odii FratriS. We've seen this incredibly methodical application of solvit coagula.
Turning common items into surgical tools.
And it goes so far beyond just spite. It's an act of creation, really. Annihilating a specific failure, that Venusian greed, and defying a sovereign universe by invoking a guardian.
I think the ultimate insight here, which echoes the source material's mindset, is that there is no wasted effort. For the Magus, the rearranging of reality is but another form of labor.
It really forces you to understand that discipline and specific, deliberate action are the real instruments of change, not just wishing for it.
The act is the consummation.
You have acted as a star, and that is the whole of the law. Love under will. You now understand the power of setting a boundary and clearing the rubble. So what new worlds will you create now that this minefield is set, the Noga influence is buried, and your foundation is finally secure?